Yeah. 6.5.3, this is a post-accident. I don't know if it needs to be clarified or not, but on something like this, what happens if the accident happens outside of the county? I mean, it
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, so anybody can perform these tests of appropriate.
Oh, how do we physically get the test if it occurs somewhere outside? Yes, we'll have to find it. Yeah, there's plenty of testing facilities that we can contract with on a moment's notice.
Okay. That was one of the questions. Anybody else have anything?
Out west is one.
Is that what that tune was?
Anybody else have anything?
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So with the changes, including the addition in 2.15 of injury, the word injury, so these consequences include death, injury, disability, damage to property and risk of financial liability in large amounts, and then also in whatever other section that was to include the words alcoholic beverage. Would those be?
3.1.2.
Thank you. Would that be the extent of your proposed changes, sir?
And that there in the clarification of the extra word on the opening page.
Oh, yes. On the lower cover packet?
Yeah, fiscal impact.
Cover letter? Yes.
Then the only other question I had was the in part on Title I, the purpose, page 3. Question.
I think we agreed that we don't care if it's in or out.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
You else have anything? Okay. Anybody from the public?
Was the issue that I brought to your attention? No. There was an article in the Reading. My name is Dennis French, by the way. I used to work at the Veterans Office here in Susanville. And there was an article in the, I saw this on Facebook the other day, by the way, an article in the Reading Searchlight.
Not on that topic yet.
Oh, that's, okay. I thought we were done. Okay.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you were going.
Okay, so seeing no other comments, we'll take action. So
We'll make the motion to drug enforcement.
Action item is to adopt, and I'm going to invite the motion to be adopt with the recommended changes by Chairman Elmo.
Make the motion to adopt and include the changes made by Chairman Allen.
Second.
we have a motion by Adams, seconded by Gallagher. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Very good.
Thank you.
So with that, we will move on. Let's see, H2 has been postponed. So we will move on to H3. Who's going to lead this one?
This item is a request by District Attorney Montgomery.
Okay.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
It takes two today.
The District Attorney's Office has put before you
You guys state your name for the record.
I'm sorry, thank you. Michelle Latimer, Program Coordinator for the District Attorney's Office.
Stacy Montgomery, Lassen County District Attorney.
Thank you.
The District Attorney has placed before you on the regular agenda a request to increase the contract for Special Prosecutor Dan Howe regarding a child molest case that is extremely complicated and has been with our department for quite a while. And so what we're asking is to increase the amount of the contract. Initially it was for $10,000, and we had transferred from our salaries and wages line item in our budget, $20,000 to increase professional and specialized services in the amount of $20,000 in order to help pay for that increase to Dan Howe's contract. But we really truly believe that that's not going to be enough in order to continue the prosecution of this special case. So we have requested an additional $20,000 to increase that contract until, I believe, the December 31st, 2018 contract end date.
So this is case specific,
It is.
so when we get through with this case, the additional monies won't be needed.
Correct.
Ideally, that would be the case. Mr. Howe is also working with my office as a training, doing training. So we're hoping that some training can go along with the handling of this case so that in the future this may not be necessary.
So what kind of training is this?
I'm sorry?
What kind of training is it and to whom?
It's to our attorneys. It's for our attorneys so that they can gain the expertise they need to handle this type of difficult case. It's a very, very complicated sexual assault case that involves a minor. She was a minor at the time. And it's a case in which the defendant, the accused, can stand to be incarcerated for 100 plus. He should be put away for the rest of his life, but those types of cases are very difficult. And the staff that we have at the district attorney's office, because of turnover, is relatively new. They're newer attorneys, less experienced attorneys, and we want to make sure that this case is handled in a fashion that this can be a one-time and you're out for this gentleman. And I use the word loosely. As you may or may not be aware with this type of case, these people who perpetrate these acts are not really subject to rehabilitation. They will continue to offend if they are allowed to do so. There have been studies, and I don't mean to be gruesome, but there have been studies done to say that even if these people are castrated or they're modified in some way, they still will continue to offend. So the case is of such a serious nature. Mr. Howe has taken on the case. He's working extremely hard on it, and he has a background in this type of case. And so it's for everybody's benefit that we are granted this money so that we can extend this contract out. Unfortunately, we don't have a dollar amount because it is legal work and it's billed by the hour. And there is a lot of work still to do. So with that, I will thank you all for your consideration.
Okay. Before we move on, I would kindly ask that everybody in the audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off so we're not disrupting the speakers. So, Stacey, I got another question for you since you guys are up here. Is this contract was originally signed back in September of 2016 and it's going to go through December of 2018? That is a long time for one case. I mean, do cases always take this long? I mean, it seems kind of excessive.
What we're doing here is we're trying to ensure that the contract is in place during the entirety of the case. We don't know how long it's going to take. There has been, this particular defendant has also recently committed a serious crime while he's been in custody. And that is part of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be prosecuting that case as well. Or we're going to be looking at the case with respect to the need for prosecution. But what we want to do is we want to make sure we have enough money and enough time to get this case done. Because of the other incident that has happened, the public defender who was representing the defendant has conflicted out of the case, which puts a new defense attorney almost back at square one. So it's not the very beginning of the case. The prelim and will not be done, but we're looking at possible motion work with a new attorney coming in. So we just want to ensure that we have the amount covered and the entirety of the contract covered.
But even though there's another case, he did something else, you're still focused on this one with this. With Mr. Howe, I don't see how the one could...
It's related. The cases are related. Excuse me one moment. Okay, just wanted to make sure that I didn't put a glitch in anyone's video. The case involves the defendant putting a contract hit out on the victim in this case, and so they're related. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, that makes a little more
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, I got, I don't know, I mean, I sat on a jury with Mr. Howell on a child molestation case. This was years ago. And I do think that you're right. Mr. Howell is a very formidable prosecutor, and he knows his stuff, and he does a very good job. And so I'm glad to see that we have him on here. You know, kind of at the same time, I know that we come to us here a year or so ago, or whenever that was, I don't remember, you know, wanted an extra attorney, you know, to carry the workload, and we're still going this out, and we're still training and et cetera. I mean, where are we going to stop at? I mean, because you're pretty well staffed. I would have thought you're way ahead of most other departments, and I just want to, I mean...
With all due respect, I would say that we're well ahead of other departments. With the passage of Proposition 64, the passage of 47, the passage of the other propositions that have lessened the penalty, if you will, changed the quality and the penalties of crimes, crime is up. And my deputies were swamped, to be honest with you. Additionally, because the newest deputy that we hired was an entry-level deputy, when you come into a new office, you're not qualified to do this type of case. A misdemeanor, driving on a suspended license, drunk driving case is much less complicated than a continuous sexual abuse that happened for years and years. It's not something that happens very often, thank God. But we are busy at my office. We are working. Everybody works more than full-time doing the cases that we have. We just feel really fortunate that we have a resource like Dan Howe who can try a case like this, because with him, it can get the time and attention it needs. If it were with me or one of our other deputies, I have a lot of administrative work. I also do a calendar as well as do my other deputies. So it's a special case. We're going to have those come up from time to time, but not on a regular basis.
How many cases do you have in the court right now?
Oh, I don't know. We have
We
to
can
print a
pull
report.
that
We can certainly
report
pull
for
that.
you.
Is your caseload up, Stace?
Yes, it is.
When you fly these new positions, are you having trouble getting seasoned attorneys responding?
Absolutely. What we get are new attorneys, people who just passed the bar, people who want to come in just for the experience. My experience with the position that we just filled is it's pretty much a revolving door for every year and a half, because they are coming from out of the area. We don't get people from the area who are qualified. They don't have the education. They don't have the experience. And then the people that come in who want to fill the position, they're just doing it so they can get usually back to their county of origin. That's where our last attorney went. He came here, he got the experience, and went back to his county of origin because that's where his family was. And often, with all due respect, the salaries are not commensurate. We're way down the state. We're second from the bottom. So people don't want to stay here.
Yes.
I was just wondering, crime is up. What I'd like to see, I think, is more statistics on it, because the only figures that I see in our local area, I hear at city council every once in a while, and those numbers weren't significantly up inside the city from year in, year out. So I would love to see a report. I know you're busy. I understand that, so I don't want to step in the way of that. This case, I'd be pleased to throw Dan Howe out and make sure. It sounds like it's something that we want to make sure we're airtight on, so that we don't let somebody that is going to offend again back out on the streets. So for this
Thank you.
case, I know where I'm going, but I would like to see a little bit more
Certainly.
information in the future.
So how many attorneys do you have now, Stace?
We have, 5? How many do we have?
And
5, and we have 5 staff attorneys and Dan Howe, the contract attorney. Sorry.
So what, of those 5, just so the public kind of understands, I get a grasp of the situation, it's a typical Lassen typical thing that happens are if people come up here for experience and they move on.
Yeah.
What's the, I guess, the experience level, average experience?
New attorneys are usually hired right out of law school,
Right out
Right out
of
of
school.
school, so
right
Yeah,
after
so
they get
we
their
have-
bar number.
Yeah, we have 3 that are one brand new, 2 that are upper misdemeanor, low felony level attorneys. And we have 1 deputy and myself that have more experience. That's it.
I mean, I just want that for the
Yeah.
public's benefit to realize what you're
Yeah,
going to
and
deal
with
with.
the passage of Proposition 47 and the other propositions, our misdemeanor calendar is huge. It's absolutely huge. There are a lot of drug cases that we would have prosecuted as felonies before that are now misdemeanors and have moved down to the misdemeanor calendar. But it does not seem as though for some reason the felony calendar has slowed down any. We still seem to have domestic violence as a continuing problem. We've got theft that's a continuing problem, but we do the best we can with what we've got.
Chris, you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question for Richard. Is there any way, instead of doing the appropriation right now, that we could use either salary or services savings towards the end of the year? We could approve the contract, which, I mean, I've known Dan for a long time, great attorney, and I'm supportive of him. But instead of doing the appropriation, wait till we get towards June to see if we're going to have enough money in that particular budget. And then if it's not going to be enough, then come back and ask for the appropriation.
Certainly, you could approve the contract and not approve the appropriation, which would put the department head in the position of having to work within the existing appropriation, or
Come back towards the June time period. Would that work?
Moving towards I'm going to let Ms. Latimer address that because she works with the budget all the time.
And it's not saying you can't come back and, towards the end, because I know how budgets go. And when you get to June, it's getting kind of tight. But if you can move line items around in order to get,
We have done that already,
20,000.
and that's where we had already moved from our current wages and salaries down to professional and specialized services. So when we're looking at our budget currently, we're pretty slim. And so this is actually a safety measure just on top of what we've already done.
Well, I was just thinking, since this contract's going to go, into the next fiscal year, then it could be, you could put in for the next fiscal year to have that funding extended if he goes past it, and just use what you have in the budget for this current year, and then, budget for it in the upcoming fiscal year.
I intend to do that.
Because I definitely want to have Dan in that position.
Mr. Gallagher, I know the auditor is in the audience, and she may be, or on the spot, she may be in a position to comment on the status of where the actual budget is compared to the appropriations. I don't know if you are or not.
I don't have it with me right now, but if the costs are incurred before June 30th, they have to be in the current budget.
Right,
So
right.
I do not know, what the cost will be by June 30th, whether or not the current budget will hold it. If it doesn't, then the money won't be transferred unless they do exceed that amount, they need that amount by June 30th. So even though we're approving the budget, it doesn't necessarily mean we'll end up funding it if it's not needed.
I got another, I guess it's kind of interesting to see you guys doing here. It's nice, but you kind of going back to what you have to say, just for the general public's perception of what you guys do on a daily basis and what your workload is. I mean, can you give us an idea of like how many court cases you have there, how many other cases you're prosecuting? I mean, I know it's going to vary from day to day.
It's going to vary from day to day and month to month, and we can certainly provide those statistics to you.
Just
But
a
what-
ballpark of what you're at today, how many you're prosecuting today in the courts, and how many you're actively...
When we initially started the budget process, we ran those numbers, and forgive me, I can't specify exactly how many we had, but I believe that we had increased, no, let me back up. We had a caseload of 635 misdemeanors in the last calendar year, and forgive me, I forget how many felonies. But one of my job duties is to run those statistics for you, and I'd be happy to do that and come back and present those to the board.
Yeah, if you would, Martin.
And that's including not only the felonies and misdemeanors, it's prison prosecution also.
And how many are pleaded out, how many you go to trial with your in-house attorneys, and how many you go to contract out with, say, Mr. Howe or your other contract attorney, you could kind of...
Mr. Howe only specifically works with the homicide cases, and with the prison prosecution, and in special cases, as in this one with the child molestation cases. And he's the only contractor that we work with on
Yeah,
that.
he's the only contract attorney we have right now.
Yes.
Yeah, you could get those out.
I'd be happy to.
I think that would be good.
Well, we have that new system that we can run reports. We didn't realize we were going to need those for today, so otherwise we would have been happy to provide those. The only caveat I would include is that not all the cases that we have are in the courts, because we have a constant influx.
Oh, sure.
So we are constantly being bombarded, if you will, with new cases from all of the agencies.
Additionally, we have a diversion program now. And so in certain misdemeanor cases, they'll actually go to be charged to the district attorney. She'll decide whether or not it will actually go to be charged. If not, specifically cases such as driving without a license, registration that's expired, they'll come through that program, and then we'll we'll ask them to complete the diversion program through community service hours. If they need to pay their restitution, they have to attend a 4.5-hour class online through a mastery program in cognitive behavioral treatment, and they have to submit their payment for those services. And once all of the terms of the contract that they agreed to are completed, then the case will be dismissed and no charges are filed.
And that's all at their expense. The county doesn't pay for any of that. That has been an attempt by my office to reduce our budget somewhat. Unfortunately, as people who have repeated convictions are not eligible to partake in that program. So there are those types of cases that are still going through the system. But we are working with this diversion program to try to reduce the number of filings that we have. But it's a new program, and so we've only had a few cases get through the program successfully. But we can also give you more information on that if you would like.
I think it would be good to get your department, big department, and I think at least every 6 months you have to see the program come in and tell us about it,
Okay.
show us what it works. And like, just make an appearance every 6 months and just give us an update. I think it would be very well received, and it would give not only your board, but the public a very good understanding of what you guys do on a daily basis. I think it's important.
Thank you. I will take that to heart, and I will do that.
Yeah, even that discussion on diversion, which isn't on this one, was interesting, and we learned something from that alone. So, yeah, you guys showing up is great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Richard?
I was just going to suggest as an alternative, if the district attorney is going to bring those reports he makes back to the board, perhaps we want to authorize the contract immediately to allow the work to continue within the existing appropriation, and then in the meantime, that action item to increase the appropriation and come back with those reports.
That was actually going to be my motion.
Good. I'll second it.
So we're clear, that would be a motion to approve item number 1 under action request and table the remaining.
Exactly.
How quickly can we do that?
Pull the statistics for you?
Yeah.
I could have them by the next board meeting.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Mr. Gallagher. This is to approve the amendment for Dan Howe and authorize the chairman to sign. And that was,
And I'll second that.
and that was the form of your motion, Mr. Gillis?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And it was seconded by
Now it's my turn.
Supervisor Teeter.
I'll get it right someday.
He's the Teeter that has the long hair. I always call him the Teeter that has the short hair. I just go by Teeter now, it's so much easier.
He's Teeter.
Yeah, he's Teeter, yeah. So, and so maybe we can put this on the agenda the next time that you guys are, when you're ready, just get hold of Richard and on the agenda.
Really, we'd like to see that as quickly as possible. I know you guys are busy, but, yeah, please.
We'll make it a priority.
Okay, is there any other discussion, other than you got a good man, Mr. Howell, on board?
Yes, we do.
Wait. Don't pump it. He's already got it. He doesn't need any more.
Is that in the contract? These things about.
No, but I take it as a personal challenge to be his kind of equalizing force, so.
I can see his chest puffing up.
We give you a lot of training.
As a matter of fact, he did.
Jennifer Brandon, Chief Probation Officer. I would just like to note that on your guys' agenda, the item that was pulled today is for layoffs within the 2 departments within the county. And I think that, we've got to look at good business practices and look at allocating general fund dollars when we're actually doing some layoffs. So I just want to make that as a note. And with our declining juvenile population, part of that, it's a whole system. And within the year of 2016, we did send 31 felony filings forward to the district attorney's office for criminal prosecution. 13 of those were filed, 17 were rejected, and 1 is still pending. So when we look at, the totality of the situation and system-wide, we do have to look at, what are some of those driving forces of those declining populations. But when we look at layoffs, I think that we've got to really look at considering where we're allocating general fund dollars. Thank you.
And that's the point I'll take to other discussion is, Mr. Chapman, he come back after CSAC and he was looking at the other county, I want to say it was Riverside.
Riverside.
Yeah, and how they kind of, and maybe that's something we want to start looking at and seeing if that would.
It was kind of, as long as we don't hire a contractor, that's what Riverside did, is hire a contractor to do all the efficiency work, and I think that would lose some of your, that's another discussion.
Yes, I mean, I just brought that up when Jennifer brought that up. Okay, we have motion on floor, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Chairman, the clerk should show as tabled items 2 and 3. Is that correct, sir?
Item H3.
Yes.
Yes.
2 and 3 of action requested on that item. Yes, very good, thank you.
And it is 10:25, so we will take our 10:25 recess and we'll go back there at 10:30 for supper.
See
One more session, and then we anybody else in the audience have comments, so I should have this present that. So we're not.